Alright guys, what's going on? It's your boy Aizen back with another Dragon Ball Legends video, fresh off that reaction video. We're going straight into the information for Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. His abilities have just dropped. I have not looked at them at all yet. Let's see if Toshi cooked and gave Broly the justified kit that he should have. We're going to be looking straight up at this, which is going to be the actual information, so we can come up with our own thoughts on how good Broly is. He is an element red. We saw that in the reveal. Super Saiyan, powerful opponent, sagas from the movies. His Z ability is at 3 stars. It will be sagas from the movies and Saiyan strike, attack, and defense. At 6 stars, it'll be PO, sagas from the movies and Saiyan strike, attack, and defense, and 15% to characters that are both powerful opponent and movies base blast defense. Okay. And then he does not have a special Z ability at 14, but he's continuing the trend we have been seeing where these units at 14 stars now are getting 38% rather than 35%. That is something that we are seeing on a lot of the new units. We saw it on Vegito, we saw it on Gogeta. I don't know if we saw it on the part 2 units because I didn't really look at their 14 star Z abilities, and if I did, I don't remember. However, for Broly, we are continuing the trend of the 38%. Looking at base Broly's kit here, he does have blast armor, nothing else on his strike. And for blast card, he has nothing special. Blue card looks like it does massive explode damage, gets 30% of damage inflicted on activation for special move. Falling effects occur on hit. He reduces enemy ki by 40 and no switching for 5 counts. That's pretty good because you could literally just get this, make them vanish with like another card, and then just rush them or ult them or whatever else. Like it's a very powerful ability. A 5 count walk-in is really strong. He also has blast armor on his blue card as expected. His green card is going to give him 10% health every time as well as 50 ki, 20% of damage inflicted. Falling effects occurring on hit, he gets a special move arts and inflicts a 10% damage debuff, combos into everything, and has blast armor. Solid green card, but one key thing to note here is he doesn't get any permanent buffs on his green card, so you're not forced to like pop this green card before you transform him. He doesn't lose buffs like Orange Piccolo. If you don't pop his green card before you transform with him, then he loses on some special move damage. So that's one thing that you don't have to worry about with Broly. Moving on to his main ability, he transforms into the Legendary Super Saiyan, randomly draws 2 cards when you have 3 or less, restores own health by 50% and gets 50 ki. That's a really high amount. He restores his vanishing gauge by 100%. This is a very good main already. Oh, we did not mean to do that. Cancels own attribute downgrades in abnormal conditions, and if his unique gauge is full, it resets to 0 and the following effects occur. He gets 20% permanent damage and destroys all of your enemy's cards as well. So he probably doesn't have an attack unique gauge before transforming. He probably has something similar to Beast Gohan's, but let's see. When battle starts, he charges his unique gauge by 20%. He gets 120% damage inflicted, 70% cut, and card draw speed. Then when the character enters the battlefield, he randomly draws 1 new card when you have 3 or less, restores ki by 30, gets an additional 50% damage inflicted, and gets cover null for 5 counts. Solid, nothing too crazy. Applies the following effects himself every time he uses a strike or blast arts card. He gets a damage inflicted of 15% and immunity to enemy key effects. That is very good, man. That is very good. Getting a damage stacking going as well as getting the key immunity. Whenever he defeats an enemy, he randomly draws 2 new cards if you have 3 or less, restores health and gets vanish gauge, and a 20% permanent damage buff. Wow, man. Wow. That is very crazy. That is very crazy. And this most likely, okay, this only activates once, but this carries to post transformation as well. Unique ability 2, he gets a special cover change against strike arts cards that combos into blue cards. Applies the following effects when changing cover, restores health by 15% and gets 30 ki. Nullifies own damage sustained for 10 counts. Charges own unique gauge every time this character uses an arts card while he's on the battlefield. So it is an attack gauge even pre. And when it's full, he draws a card, restores ki by 30, gets 20% damage inflicted, 30% for 5 counts, and cover null for an additional 5 counts. He's getting a lot of damage here that's going to carry over to his post. Like this is 20, he gets a kill, that's another 20, and then when he transforms with gauge, that's another 20. That's adding another 40% right there that you don't want to miss out on. Whenever the enemy is hit by his arts attack while he's on the battlefield, he restores his own health by 10%. What? Oh, whenever he gets hit. Okay, whenever he gets hit, it restores health He always shortens ally sub count and reduces enemy ki by 20 3 times, but this does not reset. This does not reset when he switches out. So this will just activate 3 times. Then this is the post transformation kit. Still just nothing too special on Strike or Blast. He has Blast Armor on his Strike. His blue card has massive explode damage. On activation, it does nullify endurance, has 20% cut pen on it, and depending on the number of enemy battle members, it gets a damage buff as well. Stronger when there's more alive and weaker when there's less alive. Okay. His green card post applies the following effect on activation, randomly destroys 1 new card, draws 1 new card when you have 3 or less, restores health still and gives ki, damage inflicted. He does now bump up his damage received on the enemy to 20%, but other than that, it is pretty much the same green card as his base. His main ability now draws a special move, Arts, restores own health by 30% and ki by 50, nullifies type disadvantage for 15 counts. That's very good. Then his first unique ability after transforming gives him 15% damage inflicted and 60% ki recovery, neutral defense for 20 counts, inflicts all enemies with this, but this is only 10 counts. That's nothing too crazy. And when the character enters battlefield, he also gets cards still gets the cover change null, 30 ki. A lot of good debuffs right there. Card draw speed debuff, all enemies getting that. He reapplies that every time he comes in, so that is actually pretty good. Whenever he uses a Strike or Blast, he still gets damage stacking, and he still has immunity to the ki reduction, and he still is keeping this passive from his base as well. A lot of the similarities, not too much has changed in his first unique from his base to his post, but his first unique is still very good. And his second unique here, same thing, strike cover change. When he covers, he gets these effects here. He gets 60 counts of type neutral defense now. So that's pretty good. Considering his base as well, it's even more. And if a cover change is performed against his strike or blast arts, he does nullify once. And after nullification, activation count resets only once when he's switched to standby. So he can nullify twice for free. That is an insane power creep to UI, who needs a unit to die to get it again. I believe he might need to be LMS to get it again. But that's insane. He just has to switch out, come back in, and he can nullify 2 for free, even if he doesn't have cover null. And following effects occur when cover change or special actions are nullified. He gets 30 ki, does impact damage, 100% health restore debuff, and he can combo into anything, including not his ultimate though. Everything but his ultimate he can combo into. And when he nullifies cover change, he does impact damage. So you take damage when he nullifies your cover change. Okay, man. And charges his own unique gauge every time he uses an arts card while on the battlefield. Once it's full, it resets to 0 and the following effects occur. He gets 20% damage once again, 30 damage inflicted for 5 counts, and applies the buff effect, nullify enemy cover change. All right. That is pretty much the entire kit for Broly. I do just want to check what happens with his gauge here. So this in base, every time that he charges his unique gauge, he uses an article once unique gauge is full. So his unique gauge here doesn't reset once it's full. Once his base unique gauge is full, it stays full and it doesn't reset until he transforms. Because in post, otherwise he'd be able to stack infinite damage in base. Once the unique gauge full, it resets to 0. Here it does not reset, so he doesn't get to infinitely stack damage, but he still does get this extra 20% buff that he gets from charging his unique gauge. Alright, thoughts on Broly so far? I think he looks absolutely monstrous. He's going to do a lot of damage. He has a lot of healing. He's looking like he's going to be an absolutely perfect addition to the meta. He's looking like he's going to be absolutely bonkers. He doesn't have anything too crazy utility-wise, but he is still very, very, very good, and he's going to be an offensive monster, as you'd expect from a Broly unit. But that is pretty much the breakdown of Broly. I will see you guys on Tuesday from when his banner drops, because we will be summoning. With that being said, this is your boy Aizen, signing out.